boat is getting a motor? Well, it's a sailboat, so it's actually getting a sail, but the function is basically the same. We've just come back from rowing tests at the University of Sao Paulo Olympic Lane. It went really well, but there's still a lot missing on this boat. Starting with the mast, we're using a taquaro sul, a large bamboo pole, as the mast, the same one we used on the previous boat. Honestly, it's one of the few things we're reusing from that boat, which went completely wrong. I think it's cool that we keep this improvisational spirit, adapting, reusing, and recycling things. Our work here at Manuel do Mundo isn't about building a completely new boat. It also preserves part of the history of Manuel do Mundo's boats. The first challenge is securing the mast properly in its support. It's a bit loose. We're going to try wrapping some pieces of motorcycle inner tube around it, and then melting a strip of polyethylene terephthalate bottle over everything. When it's heated, it shrinks and grips, locking everything firmly in place. Now that's what I'm talking about. Nice, that takes care of the mast. Now things start to get complicated. Let's unpack the sail. I ordered it about a month ago, and Pedro from Windsail made it for us. It's amazing. The sail weighs about, 1 kilo. It's really light, and I hadn't seen it finished yet. When we built the previous boat, I decided to make the sail at home using a bed sheet. I tried cutting it based on what I saw online, without much planning, and it turned out terribly. This time, we ordered one. It's better for sailing and gives us a much nicer looking sail. It's also very similar to the one we made here for our miniature. Wow, look at the size of this. Oh my God. Look at that. All the corners are reinforced. There's a transparent section under the sail, so you can see through to the other side and understand what's going on. There are also some colorful ribbons attached to help you see how the wind interacts with the sail. If the ribbons flap too much, it means the wind isn't entering the sail correctly. There are 2 spars we need to install here of the boom, which goes on the bottom and the yard which goes on top. We have a beam that's 5 by 5 centimeters, and we need to turn it into a round pole with a diameter of 4 centimeters. So first we use a planer here, and not just a little bit, actually quite a lot of planing. We need to remove a lot of wood first and then sand everything down. Now that we're putting it all together, the system also comes with all the complexity of ropes. There are lots of them, but basically, the 2 most important ones are these. From here, one rope raises the sail using the halyard. It's kind of like hoisting a flag, right? You pull that rope. And we also have the sheet, which is this one here that controls the angle of the sail. There are a lot of things that need to be tied, and I'm basically using 2 knots that I think are worth showing you. The first one is the figure 8 knot. This here would be a normal loop, right? A regular knot that you're used to seeing. With the figure 8 knot, you add 1 extra turn and it becomes this, okay? It changes shape. The figure 8 knot is useful when you want a knot at the end of a rope that's easier to untie later. In this case, you'd use it like this. But if you want to make a loop, you can take the other end of the rope and pass it through the knot that's already been made. Anything you tie with this won't come undone. Ever. No way. It's the knot I use the most in my life, okay? It works for almost everything. Here it is. Beautiful. The double figure 8 knot. Man, it already wants to sail. Look, with this little breeze, it's crazy. Look how it's already pulling to the side, already wanting to go. Right. You might notice that the shape of the sail is unusual. It's very different from what we're used to seeing. This is a crab claw sail. It's shaped like this. Because the center of pressure of the sail, in other words, the balance point when the wind hits is roughly here, which makes the boat lean less. LD. Every time the wind hits, the boat will lean a bit, and that's what causes it to tilt. But it tilts less than with a traditional sail, which is a big advantage for us because it makes the boat more stable. Wow, the sail really makes things more unstable, right? So let's say I'm standing here, but here it really depends on your ability to dodge it, you know. When you're sailing, sometimes you're over there, sometimes you're over here. You have to duck. Exactly. The boom is dangerous right now because the wind is coming from behind. D. If the wind changes direction and does this, you get a sudden movement, and the boom can hit your head. That's one of the reasons I'll be there the whole time. Wear a life jacket, because sailing alone means there's a risk of being hit by the boom and falling into the water. You could get knocked out. And then what if you're not wearing a life jacket? One of the things we were planning to do in this video was paint the bottom of the boat. There's an ongoing debate at Manuel do Mundo about painting it green and white, the original and model colors, but I prefer to keep the natural color of the wood at the rowing lane. Several people complimented the boat, and the public vote, based on the two people who spoke, was not to paint it. That's the boat's setup, what you're seeing right now, okay? You can see it already wants to sail, even in the pool, with just a light breeze and some trees around. Still, the wind here is pretty weak. Some navigation parts are still missing, like the rudder and the centerboard. We also need to attach a few things and decide which knots to use. But it's looking great. It's really cool. We have storage space at both the stern and the bow of the boat. It's a box that works as a flotation compartment. There's an inspection hatch here, so you can store things inside and so on. It's also important to have this opening for maintenance. And the main function of this compartment is to keep the boat from sinking. If this is well built, the boat can capsize, fill with water, and still not sink. It's unsinkable. Well, almost. Look at this hook. The screw needs to be stainless steel. Back here, there's reinforcement, so this hatch doesn't break when you apply force here. This spot took a lot of stress while paddling, so we're going to add some leather here for protection. Guys, using the submarine's ballast in the boat. Basically, we're missing 3 things to get this boat 100% ready to go into the water. The first is installing the rudder and the keel. This here is the rudder. It's what gives direction to the boat. The hardware hasn't arrived yet, so we can't install it now. You'll see that in the next video. The second thing is figuring out how I'm going to sleep inside. I used to think I could lie down under the bench with an inflatable mattress, but now I don't think that'll work. So I bought a jungle hammock, and I'm going to try to set something up here to hang it inside the boat. We've already prepared a small mast made from a hoe handle, which fits into the boat, but I think it'll break if I lie down in it. So we're going to add 2 stays here, 2 cables that pull this mast backward to create a force opposite to the one the hammock will apply. Now we'll have to tie the hammock here. Do you think it'll be comfortable to sleep like this? Now I got scared. The base of the little mast came loose. It was glued. Do you see any epoxy here? That's bad news, because if the base of the little mast came loose, the base of the big mast might come loose too. The truth is in the back, it's okay. It'll hold. The hammock will act as a counterweight, but it did get kind of loose, right? Let's see what happens. Yeah, it got kind of loose, didn't it? Whoa. Wow. I thought it would be uncomfortable, but it's just a bit tight underneath here. It's actually comfortable. The idea is that when I lie down in the hammock, the sail won't be hoisted, right? Otherwise, the boat would move, so the sail will be down at that point. I'll have to set up camp with the boat anchored. I'll drop an anchor somewhere. Of course, I won't leave the boat, and I won't anchor on land either. I'll probably anchor a little away from a pier or something, so I can sleep on the water. This here is actually a tent tarp, okay? It's not made for a boat or anything like that. The idea is just to have some cover overhead. Imagine if I flipped the boat here with all this stuff. Jansen is filming. Hey, there's no point in running away. I've got you on camera, and this tarp setup is extremely improvised. The hammock, I mean, I thought it turned out pretty cool, but the tarp got all wrinkled. It looks terrible. Let's see if we can get a proper tarp by the day we test this, but I don't know if we'll manage to. We still need to finish adjusting the sail, since we tested it here in the pool last week. But there was still a lot left to do. Lots of ropes that weren't set up properly yet. Let's put everything together for the final assembly. Whatever we decide now goes into the water, and time is running out. Look, it was sunny, but now it's starting to rain. This is already a test to see if the boat has any leaks or issues in the compartments, like at the bow or the stern. I don't know how we're going to keep working now. We're not going out in the rain, right? Rain alone is already a challenge. On the day, I actually sleep on the boat. I already need to know what to do when it's raining. This here is going to be my anchor. It's a kettlebell, that 8-kilo exercise weight. Right after the anchor, there's a piece of chain so that the anchor rope, I can't remember the proper name for the anchor rope, stays down at the bottom of the reservoir. If I don't use the chain, the rope might float and stay on the surface. I want it more to the side. Let's test this anchor, because I think putting it in the water later is going to be a hassle. All right, let's go with the anchor. There's already water inside the boat, so I know I need to bring a small cup that day. There should be a hole there for this water to drain out, but we hadn't drilled it yet. This here is an important navigation instrument. It might be too small. Let's test it.
Careful not to get wet there.
Considering how much it rained, let's check if any water got into our box. Look, if there were a cell phone inside here, what would have happened? I think we've got a problem. Guess what? Everything here is covered in epoxy. So I don't know exactly where the water is coming in. Yeah, if it rains on that day, it's going to be tough. It definitely won't be easy. Today, we discovered our mistakes. Water got into the bow and stern compartments, and both the main mast base and the small mast baits came loose. I cut the halyard much shorter than I should have. What else did we mess up? We'll only know if this works on the actual day. Oh my God. We recently put the boat in the water just to test the centerboards and the rudder without recording it. After that, we planned to finish it and drill a hole in the centerboard. We discovered it was splitting in the middle. Look, these 2 plywood sheets were glued together. We glued them, and now they're coming completely apart. On the other side, you can already see it starting to separate. We've got 2 problems. First, there are only 2 days left before the boat launch. Second, if this happened to this piece, it's likely going to happen to the others that were made on the same day. And looking at this other centerboard here, you can already start to see it. Look, a gap forming. And worst of all, the rudder, which is the boat's steering, is already starting to split as well. You can see here about 1 millimeter of separation between the plywood layers. I have no idea why this happened. We probably mixed the epoxy wrong, but the fact is these parts are ruined. And the best part is today is Friday. On Wednesday, we had an extratropical cyclone here in Sao Paulo. A lot of trees fell, and we're without electricity. I have no idea what kind of magic we're gonna have to pull off now. I've had a sore throat for days.